Thanks for joining us here for your NCFE Perfect Portal presentation. My name's Andy, and I'm going to take you through the NCFE portal. When you load up your portal for the very first time, you'll be met with your login page. You'll see this on screen currently. It'll include your username and password, and you'll be clicking on the little arrow, and this will take you in to the portal itself. However, if you are struggling with the portal access, there is options for forgotten username and forgotten password. These will email links to you to allow you to get back in, and we can then support you. If you're really struggling, down in the bottom corner, there is a web chat function, and we can help you out that way as well. So once we've loaded up our portal, it'll take us to our home page. On the portal homepage, you'll first of all be met with any pop-ups that are available. So these are active notifications to help you and support you as a center. So as you can see, the notification on there is about Christmas and when we're available in terms of support services. In order to get around that and close that off, just simply click the close button, and that will then take you to your standard portal welcome page. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see your search bar. So you'll see search and then registration, my learners, bookings, results, moderation, grading, certification, support, and then the My Account tab. You also have shortcuts on the back of your portal, and you can see if you hover over them, they change color. And that will also take you to the relevant page. In terms of support tab across the very top, on that little drop down, there's a really important document here. This is your portal user guide. Now, your portal user guide, treat it as your Bible for the portal. This will provide you with all of the information that you require in order to navigate the portal, input information into the portal accurately and correctly. And this is a really good self-help tool. I'll give you a little screenshot of that now. As you can see, it comes with a contents page, and those contents pages are all hyperlinked. So you can click in to wherever you need to go, and it will show you the information you require. So for example, by managing learners, you'll be able to see your learner screen. The headings are in bold, so it will take you to the relevant page, and step by step, we can see where we're going in order to update the details. It also includes screen grabs and screenshots, as everyone learns very, very different, as we all know, working in education. We're going to come back to the portal there now, and we'll refer back to the portal user guide slightly later in the presentation. So, with the portal in front of us, we're going to look at registering learners, because at the start of an academic year, this is probably the first thing that you're going to want to do and make sure it is accurate and correct. There are several ways to upload learners. You can do this via simply keying in the information into the relevant fields, and we'll have a look at that in a second. Or you can do what's known as a CSV file, which essentially is an upload of the data. So if we click on the button for key in method, register learners using keying or CSV file, as we've just done, it will take us to this page. The toolbar in the center here is where you're going to input your information for your product that you are looking to deliver. So what we can do here is we can search via name or via our qualification number. Now, all of those qualification numbers are included with your NCFE website and qualification page. So just so you can see that, this is our NCFE website, and we've gone from qualifications and search our qualifications. This particular qualifications are level 1/2 technical award in business enterprise, and this is the reference number that we referred to beforehand. If we go back to our portal, and then be able to simply pop in that registration number, and it will recognize the qualification. Providing that's correct and accurate, simply click on it, and it will select and populate that top bar. Your next session is available sessions. So this is where we are now, that moment in time. So 23-24, so September 23 to August 24. You'll select this session as this is the active session currently. Your next line down will exist or will appear if there is an existing batch with a learner already registered or learners already registered and you're adding to it. At this moment in time, we're going to assume if we click on the button, it will give us a drop down and it will show learners who are already registered within your center and a batch number. Now, the batch number is really important because this allows you to locate your learners through the My Learners tab at the top of the page. And you can then update your learners accordingly as they go through their learning journey. We're going to leave it blank for the moment, and we're going to register this particular learner against this qualification. Your next option for this one is an assessment window. So what happens with this one? With it being one of our newer qualifications, it will automatically create a booking for the learner and we'll come on to bookings later in our presentation. Your options are either online or paper-based, and the year, as you can see, the 24 or 25, is when the learner is going to take that examination and complete. We're going to go for summer 2025 on this one and treat them as a brand new learner. I'm just going to quickly pop in some details in here. And in terms of the information that needs to be completed, you'll see that it has a star assigned to it for your mandatory fields. In terms of learner start date, again, it lays out your digits that are required for this. And again, when completing your CSV file, if you have in multiple uploads, the format needs to be as is displayed there. Just going to quickly pop that in. That includes his date of birth as well. And this final box here is your planned end date. So this is when you're expecting your learner to have completed the qualification. So as we saw above, you can see summer 2025. So we'll pop that in as a completion date. Now, please be aware, just as a bit of a guidance and a side note, this date is not set in stone. We will not be frustrated as an organization. There's not an issue with that date and learners being certificated before then. This is just an approximate date for when expectation is that they will be certificated and complete. Your final option is country code. It's already defaulted to United Kingdom. Simply click add and make sure you have clicked add. You will then see the learner drop to the bottom bar below, and this will then allow you to add a further individual. If that's the only learner that we're adding at this moment in time, we would simply click next. This will give you some additional information. Pop some details in there, and then we'll click finish. Upon completion, you'll see the processing learner registration screen, and you'll see that it is now completed to learner registration complete. It has now provided you with a brand new batch number, and this is really important for you to keep an eye on the details and information. It helps you to support your learners, and you know exactly which learners registered to which batch. As discussed, as you can see here, if any modifications need to be changed or amended, or any access arrangements made, this is done via the My Learners and Manage Learners section, which is just up here, and we'll go into that in a moment. Please obviously make sure that these are kept updated and accurately reflect your learners. These tabs to the bottom, these will confirm your order summary, the order that you've placed, the costs for finance purposes, and then details of assessments and bookings. We're going to go to My Learners now. Come to Manage Learners. I'm going to pop in the batch number that we have just created, and you can see our learner is there with the relevant qualification. Their status is registered, and their planned end date, and the registration date is included. If, as mentioned beforehand, you needed to make any amendments to your learner, you would simply click the Edit button, and here are where your access arrangement options are. As you can see, they range from time to scribes, and over on the far side, paper modifications, including colored paper. Any changes you make, you would simply tick the relevant box. It will ask for a contact email, and then save change. If that's not done, we won't be able to add in that extra time at that moment in time. So please do that upon registration or upon receiving updates for your learner. I'll close this box now. With this particular qualification, it is already assigned an assessment date, and we're going to look for the assessment information now. So to do that, we're going to go to Bookings. We're going to go into View Assessments, and that batch number that we talked about beforehand, we're going to use that to help us locate. We can see that we have the learner in front of us. We're going to pop a little tick to the box to the left-hand side. You'll see that now has gone blue. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we'll see View Bookings. We can see the qualification now on the existing bookings page. We can highlight it. And if we scroll down, we'll see the learner that we have. It will then give us some further information about the qualification. So anything marked EA is an external assessment, and it'll show you the details of that, when that's going to happen. Obviously, this is our address because of the test system, but that would contain the address of where the documentation is going to be sent to, and then the assessment location. For the second part, which is the project work for this particular qualification, this one again is here, and it would have these options to download the information for yourself. There'll be a little zip folder as well in there. So that's the basics of viewing your bookings and registering one learner. Within your portal user guide, which we referred to earlier, as you can see, there is a section marked Bookings. You can click on that. And again, as we've shown, it will show you the screenshots and screen grabs. It will show different ways of locating the learners, and you can just cycle through that information. In terms of registrations, and so again, we've touched on, you have the key in method, which allows you to manually type it in, as we've shown already. There's an upload via a CSV file as well. Now, the one thing to mention with CSV files is that they cannot be amended or changed. So within your support tab, there are CSV file examples and a CSV tool to download. Please make sure that when you do complete a CSV file, you have enabled the macros to allow access to the system. You may need to speak to IT within your center, as occasionally this may be locked down to allow it to happen. As mentioned, please do not change or amend any of the columns, leave them all as they are. And at the far end of your CSV file, there is the planned end date and start date. And you may not see that initially. However, within registrations, you would then be back to this screen. You would pop in the product code and product number, and then you would choose file for yourself. You'll then upload your chosen file. It will highlight in here. The upload button will then go blue. You can click upload, and it will fill that documentation below, exactly the same as you saw with the individual key in method. with the portal user guide, as mentioned before, it will take you through your learning journey or your learner's journey from start to finish. So as we can see, we have our registration section, our My Learners, our booking section. We scroll down, we can see results and moderation. We can see certification and how to make a claim, and then managing user information as well. It's a really great tool, the Portal User Guide. It's a great self-help tool as well for if you're working after hours, shall we say, not that we do that very often. In terms of deals, I'm going to look at certification next for yourself within the portal. So we'll go to certification and then make a claim. Now we're going to look at a slightly different qualification this time and see if we can show you that process. So I have a batch number that I have prepared already.
Andy, sorry, we've just got a question from Helen, if that's okay.
Certainly, Helen.
Thanks, Andy. I was just going to say, if a mistake's made in any of them and you click confirm, what should somebody do?
Yeah, so if it's a registration that you've just completed, within the first 5 days of a registration being made on the portal, you can, as a centre, contact us directly and we'll talk you through the process of cancelling that. That first 5 days gives you the cancellation and a refund as well of the original registration, and you can then just re-register the learner on the correct qualification if it happens to be a qualification that's incorrectly completed. It's very straightforward, nice and easy, and obviously we're very helpful here within NCFE.
Brilliant, thank you.
No problem at all. Any other questions at this time? We'll move on. As we can see, what we've done is we've got this learner here. So we've got Bob. Bob has completed the NCFE Level 2 certificate in Understanding Nutrition and Health. We're in the certification tab at the moment, and we're looking to make a claim as this learner has completed all relevant work associated with this qualification. This one doesn't have an external assessment to it. So what we're doing is we're supporting and looking at how the centre you make a claim. So we're going to highlight Bob and we're going to click on Mark Units. Now within this section, you can see the units that make up this qualification. You would simply select the units that the learner has completed, and by clicking on them, you're now marking them as achieved. Once all the relevant learner units are highlighted, you'd simply choose Save Units. And again, at this moment in time, it will always ask for the internal quality assurer's name, and if your centre do so, the purchase order number. There will always be confirmation and a final tick box to confirm that this claim is listed as accurate and correct. Now, if there was an error once this claim was made, we have a process in place that supports you as a centre with an invalid claim form. So say Bob only completed 5 and didn't complete 6 of the units that we looked at before, but a full claim was made. This can be rectified by completing the claim form, and we can direct you to that. Once that's received, we can then process a reset of the system, and you can then make the relevant claim for the learner. Everything is always fixable. That's the one thing that I will always say that we can do for you here at NCFE. I'm just going to pop a little bit of information in there. We'll click Submit. You now see the claim certificate, and we can now see that this claim has been certificated and will issue the certificates based on the information provided. You can then review the relevant reports around the claim. What we now should see, we should then see the learner is then fully certificated in the final screen. So we can go back and check that information. Doesn't like my batch number. Perhaps I took it down incorrectly. Okay, so Bob's still registered because this qualification needs a sign off from an EQA. So what would happen is that qualification, those claims will go off to an EQA to be verified. And then normally within 72 hours, you'll have them assessed and then completed and certificated. If there hasn't been an EQA visit for that particular qualification, one may need to be arranged, and this can be done via our external quality assurance team. You'll then see this change from registered into full certificate, and then the certificate will be available to view as an electronic certificate via the NCFE portal, or alternatively, will arrive within 7 to 10 days of the claim being processed. And then we're back to the main page of your portal. With bookings for examinations, some of these are online bookings that you can create for functional skills. They will have online assessments that are available or paper-based, depending on your chosen setup for functional skills. Paper-based is set up for internal within centre, and there is a lead time of 6 working days when making a booking for a paper-based functional skills exam. Online, if you do this as a remote invigilated exam, where your learner is potentially at home or at a work premises, that can be done and booked through the system as an online booking. You see within the drop-down, online assessment. And this will then take you to our Surpass system, which will then allow you to complete an online booking. That will then be available potentially within 15 minutes for your learner to start. There is also an option to download an online version of the exam, again, sitting within a premises or within your center with a invigilator present. And that is then just downloaded on the computer using the Surpass software. In terms of the portal itself will give you everything that you need and then some to complete your daily challenges and daily work within NCFE. And that portal user guide that we referred to earlier on, treat it as your Bible. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a look at showing you how to book a functional skills examination. So we'll do a registration for functional skills, and we'll do that for you following the same process as we did before. So again, we're just going to pop in the search criteria for the examination details. So this is going to be your NCFE Level 2 Functional Skills Qualification in English. Again, we're just going to use Bob as our guinea pig. And as before, we're still needing to fill in the relevant start fields because we're going to register him to start off with. Hope you spotted the deliberate mistake there. And we'll hit that. So again, we now have Bob registered. We're just going to complete the registration by clicking next. Again, in terms of details, we're just waiting for the confirmation to process through. And again, we have our batch number, very important, your learner status reports, your order summary, and your claim forms. So we're going to go to bookings, and we're going to book an external assessment now for this learner. So we're going to pop in the batch number, click search. We can see Bob, and we're going to highlight him by ticking the box on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on Make Bookings. Now, at this particular point, it's going to confirm the qualification that we're making the booking for, the product code, who's completed it, and the name of your learner. It will then give you an option of reading and writing, depending on the examination that the learner is completing. We've selected reading. In the assessment details, you'll see an assessment window option. This will ask you for the time it is currently going to be taken. So as you can see, there is a date range depending on the option. It will show you all of the functional skills options here. So you do need to be just a little bit careful in terms of the details when you are booking the information. So what we're looking for is we're looking for level 2 and we're doing English reading. So we can see level 2 English reading. We still have time to complete that. It's got the address details on here. We're going to highlight if it's going to happen at the same place. And then we're going to select the assessment date. Now, there is a lead time for functional skills examinations, paper-based. As you can see, it comes up with the circle with the line through it, indicating it's not possible to book those dates. And that's because there's a 6-day lead time in order to get papers to centres. The only date that's currently available at this present moment is the 22nd of December. And that is down to the fact that we are then closed for that Christmas period. But we're going to select the date and we're going to select a time for this examination. And then going to click book entries. You'll then get confirmation. You must then again click book entries. Sometimes what happens is a centre will see this information and assume that it has been completed and then click away. That will not, unfortunately, book the examination. You need to have the confirmation on this final page for entries for assessment complete. Okay. Again, it will give you information for your external assessment confirmation report and your invigilation register as well. Now, with functional skills, it's split into 3 parts. For English, you have reading, writing, and speaking, listening, and communication. Now, speaking, listening, and communication has recently changed. This is now centre-led and centre-driven to increase the participation of your learners. The topic areas, they're all selected by yourselves as centres, and this should then lead to a greater interaction from your learners. If you would still like some support and information about the old topic areas that were available, this is contained within the NCFE website under the qualifications page. If you then search the functional skills qualification and then assessment materials and support materials, it will provide you with some additional data and information there to support. So that's a quick overview of the NCFE portal.
Andy, we've just got a question from Patricia, if that's okay.
Certainly, Patricia.
Hi, I just wanted to check when we were looking at the portal for the external exams, we're looking at paper-based, but I know you've got a 45-day window for the ones that are online. What's needed to be clicked in order to get that sort of a longer period of time?
So in terms of your online bookings, when you create an online booking for your functional skills, it will give you a breakdown of available dates when you are booking. So you would click on online assessment. It will take you to this screen, which is your Surpass setup. Now, depending on how you've been set up, you may have Surpass logins, you may not. And again, this will depend upon your centre access and how they have requested. If online assessment is something that is required by your centre or something that you're interested in, there is a form which you can fill in and we can then apply that to the centre for yourself. Within the Surpass system, there is your opening page, which will give you key dates and key bits of information. Previously, it'll show that there were some issues with an iPhone 15 for remote invigilation. There is now advice on how that is corrected and that should then resolve any issues. You'd simply go into test administration, and then in the bottom corner, you'll come down to schedule test. at this moment in time, you would then select your center. And depending on how you are delivering the examination, you would either do the one without RI next to it as center-based with an invigilator present, still using the Surpass system. Or if your learner is, as mentioned before, external to your center, so say they're doing it in their workplace of work, for example, you would choose the RI option. I'll go through a quick overview. So for this one, we're just going to choose the level 1 option here. And again, within the Surpass system, there is options for practice tests as well as the live examination. I'm going to click on reading. And at this point here, as per your questionnaire, Patricia, this is where you can select your multiple days for your online assessment. So for example, today's date is your start date, although you can change that if you wish. And it will allow you to go all the way up until the 25th of January for this particular learner in order to take the examination. Times below hand there, and then obviously next will then allow you to book your learner, and you will see them in the drop-down list here. If you do not see your learner there, you can search via their candidate number, which is created from their original registration within the portal. There is one final screen. We'll just click next on there, and this would be your booking here. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner, you just click schedule test, and that would complete your booking via the Surpass system. Does that clear everything up for you there?
Yes, thank you, Andy.
Perfect. So in terms of your portal overview, that's a very quick whistle-stop tour of the NCFE portal. The major headings that we're going to be using: your registration, your My Learners, your certification, your support function for that, portal use guide. And we can even use search for results as well as the results tab at the top. Now, your results for your functional skills, because we were talking about functional skills, will appear within the portal within 6 working days of completion. Now, if it's a paper-based, that may take an extra day because the papers need to be returned to ourselves. There are times, however, where functional skills results are delayed, and this is because we are compiling new papers and we need to set an average grade. However, if there is an issue with papers being delayed for results, this would have been communicated out to your centres prior to that, and you can also review that on our website. I'd like to thank you for your time there today, and hope that you have a great day. Take care.